Hey guys, welcome to The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. So today what we're going to be talking about is evolution, and not just evolution, but camouflage evolution, and how it is that young fish, that is fish fry, not just juvenile fish, sometimes juvenile fish, but usually fish fry, how they go through stages where they look very different than the adults, and why that is. And some fish do it, others don't, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about why that is. But first of all, I want to start you off showing you here. We'll go through probably 4 or 5 species in this video, so just sit back and relax, enjoy the view. If you see little fish going zipping by, you know those are the fry from this mother. And this is a hybrid crib strain that I've been breeding at my house for quite a while now. If you guys like this stuff, you like the science, you like the fish, all that jazz, you like the history behind them, and even getting into sociology, biology, and evolution, that sort of thing, and the footage of my tanks, which, of course, I spend a lot of time working on. This is a low-tech tank that I hope is inspiring to those of you who, you know, don't necessarily have the budget for CO2 and all the ferts and things. You can really put together a cool setup, and same with breeding fish. Everything in my fish room started from one tank, and I started breeding things and selling and working my way up. So if you like that, if you want to support this channel and that kind of spirit of doing things, the kind of DIY, and also this is basically a vlog, a video log of my learning and my knowledge in keeping fish over the years, sharing it with you guys as I learn new things or as I notice interesting things. So if you like that, please like, subscribe, you know, support me on Patreon if you are so inclined. And right now that I've said all of that schmucky stuff that I should, let's get right down to it. So if you'll notice right away, these fish are probably 2 or 3 months old. They're cribs, and the babies are actually downright eating plant matter. So the babies are eating plant matter and little teeny tiny algae and I suppose plankton, things like that. Now, what is it that you notice about their markings? So when they're first born, they're just little teeny dots, and they don't really look like much of anything. They look like a clear shape, and then some little eye dots and a tail. Then as soon as they get older, here's father. So you see he's got the line down his side a little differently. Mother has that bright fuchsia belly, and they're protecting their young because they are cichlids. So these Crebensis pulchers from West Africa, they have these babies that grow these patterns, and if you notice what their substrate looks like, notice what their patterns look like. They have rocks and spots, and so from above or beside, they actually, when you look down on rocks, it looks speckled like this. So they have these patterns to help blend them in. And since they're so little that they don't go into the open waters to eat, and their parents are kind of guarding them, they also play with, since a lot of animals, a lot of aquatic animals and fish, they don't necessarily see in the same color spectrums that we do. That's true with a lot of things, cats and dogs. Some animals see only reds and yellows and then blacks and grays, you know, or only blues and greens and shades of gray, whatever it may be. Some see ultraviolet. They see more than we do. But in most fish, they can see some ultraviolet, some can see color, and, you know, contrast is a big one. So the lines and the spots really hide those babies really well. And you know, the other thing that lines and spots do on a baby is if there are 5 or 10 babies next to each other, it confuses predators greatly because the movement of all those shapes is kind of confusing. It's hard to pick out a head or a tail to go for. And so you can see right now they're down in that algae, down in that substrate, really just hanging out, and they're pretty safe. Now, when I've had them in tanks with sand and things like that in here, you won't see the bright the bright colors and things until they're a lot older, and they will actually get very, very strong striping, and they will look like that for a good 3 to 6 months, and then they start getting some color in their belly, and upon their first spawn, they'll start getting, you know, really colorful, like this mother here who's 2 years old now. So she's so bright because she wants to attract her mate, and it takes a lot of energy, biologically speaking, to keep up your bright colors and energy, and you see how quickly she darts around defending her babies. And so the fact that she's so colorful and healthy, you know, if she were unhealthy, being that she is so colorful, you know, like a big white scar or disease, parasites and things, would really show up on a bright fuchsia-colored belly. So there are several reasons for that, but you can see that the adults also have the stripes. So the stripes, again, are playing on that light and dark, and it's amazing through just one line of bushes, I can scare her down. Let's see, maybe I can scare her down. Usually she doesn't go up, but she can hide very well. That male, even being so colorful with the leopard print tail and everything, though they just seem to hide really well. It's because of the contrast and the evolution. And even though the male has less colors, he's gray at the time, he will color up to mate, and then that's a signal to her that he's nice and healthy. So it's a balance between being flashy, looking healthy and fit, and then also surviving long enough to be able to show that flashy show. And these babies really have it good because they have parents that guard them until they're of a certain age, usually several months, and usually one takes the lead. The mother will chase, and the babies will try to stay with her closest, and she can kind of give them a signal to park in one little area, and then the father will be a decoy. If something really big happens, he'll jet off way far away, and he'll also fend off you know, oncoming attacks or incursions into their territory, whereas she will kind of jut out, and if you see like something like a Corridora or something little that could be a problem, she goes right after it and just juts right after it. But I just wanted to show you that within 2 inches of grasses, they blend in just really, really well. Especially impressive for such a bright fish. And the spots on the leopard spots on their tail fin also switch up predators' ability to gauge where their eye is. And we're going to look at a fish in just a minute downstairs at another tank, the emerald dwarf rasbora, that has this going on as its primary camouflage, even more so than all the systems that these fish have in place. So let's hop on downstairs, check out a variety of little fry, and we're going to go quicker now that you guys kind of get the basics of you can either be flashy and mate and reproduce quickly, grow up quickly, and hope that you are showing off well enough that you continue the bloodline, or you can camouflage long enough until you can all of a sudden transform into flashy and get that attention. So there's lots of other things that show their health, such as you know, the way that they move. They do these little gyrations in the water where they shake sideways and jump up and down, or I should say swim up and down really quickly. Corridoras do that. They'll go up and down, take gulps, and they're just they're funky. But their babies look just like them. And in their case, they don't guard the eggs or anything. They just are about pure numbers. Unlike these cribs, which they may lay 100 eggs, but only half may hatch and survive. Then another half probably usually will get eaten. So let's take a look at another not active camouflage, but another cunning and cool form of camouflage going on downstairs. Alright, so we're downstairs, and we are in the erythromicron tank here. Don't mind the other fish species that are cruising along, but what I want you to pay attention to are the striped guys. So, let's try to get it focused. Here we go. There's a female without the stripes, and then the males have those beautiful stripes. They'll also turn an orange color. The lights were just turned on. It was their sleepy time. So they should be coloring up more vividly very soon. So these guys, if you notice, they are shaped like a trout, and they have those striped lines. In the wild, they live in reedy, grassy areas. They live kind of in tangles like this. This is pretty close to a biotope tank for them. Slow-moving water, rice paddies, or in a river area where it's kind of spilled over its banks and is a slow swirl, like a little eddy or something. And that's the same with celestial pearl danios. These are called erythromicrons, aka emerald dwarf rasboras. So one of the things, because they need to jump from little covered area to covered area, the males color up just like we saw downstairs, or upstairs I should say, with the fish that are bright, the cribs. These males turn kind of an emerald green to a dark blue with these gold, bronze, or orange colored stripes, and their fins light up. And the females, they don't get so flashy, and that is very true in a lot of species. Obviously, it wasn't true in the cribensis species upstairs, but they live in smaller, shallow parts of the rivers where there are less giant predators. Whereas these guys, you know, they're kind of in that same boat too. And this is where sometimes you see less sexual dimorphism, which is the difference between males and females, the way they look. However, the males are more flashy, which is true for a lot of fish. And the males are more flashy, and the females will remain kind of this clear color, almost see-through. And that allows them to really hide very well all their lives, you know. And the one thing that they all have, though, these are rice fish up there. One thing that they all have is that dot on their fin. You see that dot on their tail fin? Come on, turn. You can turn. So this female, she still has slight stripes, and she still has a very predominant dot on her tail, and so do the males. The males right here, they're very obvious with their dot. And what that acts as, you see that dot there? That acts as an eye. So when a predator is trying to attack them, they can actually sit there and kind of shake and move backwards. And it's very tricky evolutionarily. May not seem tricky to the human eye because we've evolved differently than fish. But to fish, they see it as, which end am I going for? And so if they see it stall and kind of go backwards for a minute, it really throws them off. And so you might wonder, okay, that's kind of cool. They're kind of a cute little trout, cute fish, I suppose. But, you know, what do the babies do? Because most baby fish, when they're very young, they just look like this. This is the prototypical body. This happens to be an angelfish fry that's just very young. Here, I've got a tin Winnie Danio fry that's starting to get its markings to hide. And it's got dots because it lives above rocky substrate, sandy substrate, and also water that's moving slightly, like in rivers and creeks. And so that glimmering, that glistening, the gold on it, that actually throws off a UV ray and allows it to kind of camouflage it via UV ray to scatter the light. But if we look through here carefully, we're going to find some baby fish that have a little dot on their tail. If we can find them amongst all the species of little fish that are in here right now, and we will in just a moment. And as we come across the others, I'll tell you a little something about them too. But to me, it's very fascinating, and it tells you a lot about where the fish are from, that at a month and a half old, this fish, this Tinwinny Danio right here, is maybe a 1/4 inch long, but has its parents' camouflage styling almost to a T. So let's look up here at the adults. Well, that is a betta, but the adults here, which move very quickly, they look like this. If we can get one that's moving slower. And they also live under floating plants, debris, logs, in grass, but they live over pebbles, rocks, that kind of substrate more than anything. These are more of a river fish. And so that's why that kind of streamline, they've got the lines, the row of lines. And then they'll turn a nice royal crimson or purple color, the males will, on their fins when they're mating. But other than that, they're like this most of the time. And the female is right there on the left, she just stays the same. She has the clear translucent fins and the reflection with the big silver belly. So the silver belly is very common in a lot of fish. So check this out. So you can see in the daisy rice fish, the blue daisy rice fish, silver belly. In all these female guppies, silver bellies, silver bellies, silver bellies, silver bellies, silver bellies. And that is so that when a fish is underneath them, thinking of having a snack, they actually reflect that light, or I should say they reflect the light from their belly that's darker because of their shadow, and then you'll see their bellies. So right here, if we look closely, what do you see on that tail fin? And how close does it actually look? Come on back out, buddy. How close would you guys say? I mean, these fish are very teeny that I'm showing you right here. These are all within a month or maybe 2 at the very oldest for this erythromicron or emerald dwarf rasbora. But you can see that it actually has the false eye on its tail. And so it is postulated by marine biologists and evolutionary biologists that a lot of these false eyes are not necessarily just used as adults, but maybe they're used as these young fry. And after they get over their tiny phase where, see, these are bettas right here mostly, and they don't really look like much of anything. They just look like little teeny dots that are clear, and that's what's safest for them. Whereas this fish right here happens to be a Somfongzi rasbora and is starting to get its adult stripes. But from here out, it will grow within a matter of just a few weeks. So let's take let's prod a bit, since we're running a bit long. And if you've stuck with me this long, thank you so much. I have, just so you know, a lot of these fish came from Aquatic Arts, which I always link in the description. They deliver amazing quality rare nano fish and invertebrates and fish and plants to your house. And I think that they're my favorite vendor, hands down. Give back to the community. They buy fish from a lot of breeders in the Midwest locally, and I just think that's awesome. So if you want to get a hold of them to buy some fish, that's how. So this is going to be a female, this baby, if we can get them to stay still. You know, they like to move a lot. But you can already see that even when it's this young, it's got that dot on the tail. If we could show it. There we go. You guys can see that. And it looks a lot like that fish's eye. So these fish, when they feed as babies, they'll feed head down and kind of do like a straight up and down type thing. And they'll do that also when they're up underneath the plant like this. They'll eat with their head nibbling up on the plant so that it looks like they would be head down, and that allows that if they did get bit, it's best to get bit on the back end of the fin, and make it out with your part of your tail nipped, and for that matter, have them misjudging which way you're going so that your organs and head are all intact. But yeah, so this is a mini erythromicron, and that's what it looks like as a baby. Then we have some angelfish fry up here that haven't taken on their shape, but they just kind of hang out and keep their normal random fry shape, we'll call it, for a while. And then they start to get those elongated angel-shaped triangular fins and start to turn colors thereafter. But those are another one that lays eggs in huge numbers, whereas the erythromicron, it lays just little groups of eggs and hopes for the best. It lays maybe 4 to 8 eggs a day on a good day, and then other females actually don't even lay that many. They'll lay like 1 to 3 a day and just kind of scatter them as they go in the morning, usually right after their first little bite of food. So I hope that this was kind of fun. You got to see some of the babies, and that it was interesting for you guys. Also to just see how they're forming up. So, I mean, the fact that that's going to be another erythromicron there, and how they move, the flickering of light and things, a lot of it is all evolutionarily. They've learned that, you know, if they move in a jerky fashion where they move, stop, a lot of predators cannot follow that. And so it actually works really well to their advantage. And then, as I said, as some fish get older, and if they have parents that scatter eggs, but they have far more eggs, so the tin winnie or golden ring danios, same age as those other fish in here, except for it's already looking like an adult. It's no egg sac or big belly or anything, and it is streamlined and ready to go. So it's just reflecting the UV light, and it's going to use the ripples on the top of the water as a distraction, as well as sand and other things down below. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys that happens to be handy right here is these fish right here, and they happen to be bettas, and these are female bettas, so they're not as colorful. We'll show you the males in just a second, but I'll show you mom and dad real quick. Mom and dad, oh, I hope my half beaks start laying eggs soon. But mom and dad right here, this is the mother, this is the father, and I didn't let them take care of their babies. They have a past record of not taking care of their babies well, so the courts, aka me, took their babies away. So then we're gonna hop on down over here into this tank, and we're gonna show you the male bettas, which already have color at such a small size, showing you the priority of how color and just kind of like what features happen first and how big they grow. So right here it's kind of murky. I'll get a light in a sec, but just to see the shape, you can see that they've got that fin already. They've got that peduncle fin that is totally formed like an adult, and then they've got the underside fin and their dorsal fin totally shaped like an adult. So let's turn some light on, because this is an algae tank where I raise the babies. But let's turn the light on and we'll look at some of the color iridescence and things like that already going on. So one sec. All right, are we ready, guys? So here we have the very quick. Now, the males seem to grow quicker because they're more colorful. That's my hypothesis anyways. Same age as the females in the other tank. And you'll see that they hide themselves down in the ground. And they already have this iridescence to them. They already have some color to them. And you can see that fin, their peduncle or their back tail fin, already has that webbing to it. So they're already forming like an adult. And you can see up here, they're feeding, like I said, with the head down. So they'll attack from above or below rather than being on a horizontal plane. So if we look more, we'll find some more little fishies. And let's see here. There should be some baby angelfish in here that are even younger than the ones we saw in the other tank. And they're very teeny. Very, very teeny. And I know this is not as exciting as you'd probably hoped. Okay, here we go. So we'll try to get... There we go. Can you see her in there? She's going to be beautiful. She's blue and green. Of course, they always hide under everything. So, we'll try to get a better shot of her. But right here, that is an angelfish fry. And it has the beautiful iridescence, but not the angelfish shape yet. Kind of interesting. I don't know. I think it's interesting. But they lay, thousands and thousands of babies. So their strategy is definitely a little different than the one going forth with the fish that only have a few babies. So let's try to corral one last time. And as I get them into frame, I'm gonna say one more time that if you enjoy this, if you like learning about this stuff and just kind of seeing what babies look like, if you were thinking about breeding something and you're just curious about it, if you wanted to know stuff about this, here comes another betta. Here comes the male betta. Let's see if I can keep them around. They really don't like the light. They're a hiding fish. There you go. You can see the fin. That was the money shot. That's probably the best we're gonna get with her, or him, I should say. But there's a whole bunch of them in here. They just don't want to show up. They bury their heads in the rocks and hide. Right there's another one, and they bury their head in between the rocks and hide. And that's probably a good strategy because they're super bright, colorful, reflective fish. But it's because the males are using all their energy to grow to be these attractive mates to the females. They want, that's what they care about more than anything evolutionarily in the world. They've evolved to be flashy, like this opalescent one. There's some red and blue ones back here too, and they're just the light catches it just ever so slightly, but they're still very, very young, quarter inch, half centimeter, something like that. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Again, please like and subscribe if you've seen my schools of fish and you think they deserve to go to college. Either hit me up on a super chat during a live stream, or you can always PayPal me at alexanderjwilliamson@gmail.com, or you could sign up on Patreon, which would be awesome, considering, and I know a lot of you are in the same boat, so no worries if not, but if you want to support me that way, It really helps while I'm at home on quarantine, stuck here. And the last money shot of the night is the Bettas, the baby Bettas, in their murky, mucky algae tank. Just going to show you guys that raising fish, whoa, sorry about the shakiness. Raising fish, it's not about what you think looks good, it's about what the fish want to live and thrive. And it's tiny, tender, tiny little morsels of food that they want. And that's how I've conditioned this tank, into lots of food for even those angelfish fry that are super, super teeny. And then we've got more vinegar eels that I can give them, and so on and so forth. The last ones we'll show you are the Guppies. Their babies are very straightforward. They look like this. They're clear with silver bellies, so if you're looking at them from the bottom and looking up, those silver bellies look a lot like the sun coming through the water. And if you look at them from above, they're actually a darker silver or a dark brown. Like, I guess it'd be like a gray. You see that? They're dark. And that's because then prey above can't see them through the water. They just look like the darker water down below. So they get their flashiness very quickly, and then they gain their size. They gain their size, then they gain their flashiness very quickly, one after the other. And this was the last fry we saw, which is the Somfongzi Rasbora. Very similar to the Tinwini Danios, except for it's just another little micro Danio, and it has a lot more opalescence on it. If you can see the color caught on it, it changes color. But I've got whole videos on all these species, and yeah, so sorry this ran so long, but if you're still here, that's great, it means a lot. Please support the channel by sharing, liking, and just watching this long. You guys are champs, and deserve something special. So if you made it this long, why don't you comment on your favorite fry in this video, which species you liked, or on your favorite fry at home. You know, there's lots of cichlids that transform from, you know, bright purple to yellow over the time that they grow. So, well, not all of them do that, but I'm saying changes like that, okay? So let me know what it is that you like, and I will enter you into a giveaway. Just in this video, I'm going to give away $100 at Aquatic Arts, which you can also use coupon codes and passwords to get awesome fish like this panda guard that's being super lazy. Alright guys, I'll talk to you L8R. Take care. Bye.